Good morning on today's What's in the Truck. So we're going to be going over what we see in the transportation world or just what's going in the world in general. Today is November 11th, so let's take a look at what happened today as the day unfolded. So first off, in transport topics, we're talking about the trucking advised to prepare for vaccine mandate and the court's review of the case. So here, it's pretty interesting. We have Eric Stevens, and down in Nashville, Tennessee, a federal law that would mandate vaccinations on regular COVID-19 testing for companies with more than 100 employees is being challenged in court. But one expert noted that uncertainty around the rule stretches beyond the federal question. So these are tumultuous times for employers, said attorney Eric Stevens, a shareholder/partner who specializes in employment law with Nashville-based firm Littler and Mendelsohn during November 8th presentation at the 18th annual Conversion Interactive Agency Recruitment and Retention Conference. Say that 5 times real fast. So when we go through this, it's pretty interesting. First, I just want to point out, we just received news of one of our vaccinated employees just got COVID and was sick and not feeling good at all. So I'm trying to understand this and wrap this around my head. Maybe you guys can give me some comments in the feedback here. We're treating all non-vaccinated people like second-rate citizens when vaccinated people can also get COVID and unvaccinated people can get COVID. I'm trying to understand this, right? So if a vaccinated person can give it to another vaccinated person, then why are we treating all the non-vaccinated people like second-rate citizens? I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Maybe you guys can give me some guidance, clarify this for all of us. So I'm not sure what your stance is. If you're vaccinated or unvaccinated, you should be vaccinated just to protect yourself so you don't get deathly ill and pass away. But how about the people out there that aren't vaccinated? What are you feeling? And what about the people that are vaccinated? Are you seeing something here? And should government really control businesses that have over 100 people to police that, right? So we're just got to ask some questions here. So on here in logistics management, trucking industry suing over Biden's vaccine mandates, warning 1/3 of the drivers may quit. Could you imagine if 1/3 of the drivers quit across America? We have 250,000 carriers out there moving freight for us throughout each and every day. And the average of them have 25 trucks per company. You do the math, you'll see how many million of drivers we do have out there. And what if 1/3 drops? What's going to happen to inflation then? I can tell you right now that inflation will be kicking in next year. And there's a little bit of a lag, and we've been seeing it here in transportation. Our rates are 20% higher than they were last year. So if the rates are 20% higher, what does that mean for consumer goods? What's going to happen with that as well as construction? So as we're going forward, let's just look in this a little bit further. The trucking industry is suing over President Joe Biden's vaccine policy that requires private sector employers with over 100 employees to be vaccinated against COVID-19. Once again, even though you're vaccinated, you can still get it. It doesn't make sense to me. And then to have us police it, okay? Thank God for the people that are under 100 people, which is good. So it's going to be interesting how this all rolls out. And if people are working from home or not, what happens in that case scenario? So the American Trucking Associations, the ATA, which is a great organization, as well as the TIA, Transportation Intermediaries Association, along with the Louisiana Motor Truck Association, the Mississippi Trucking Association, and the Texas Trucking Association, joined other business groups representing various facets of the supply chain in suing the Biden administration over its employer-based COVID vaccine mandate. I think it's over a little stretching, really. Also, the markets dove a little bit yesterday, so that's pretty interesting to see. And it looks like we're changing course a little bit today and coming back. So that's kind of nice. So in Yahoo Finance, President Biden reversing rising inflation, top priority for him. So really, so now the administration's finally saying inflation is a thing. So finally they're seeing that. That's great. But Joe Biden says that he's preparing to go to battle with inflation as government data confirms a pace of price increases not seen in decades. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported Wednesday morning that prices rose 6.2% on a year-over-year basis in October, a pace that fast has not been recorded on the Consumer Price Index since December of 1990. I can tell you, December 1990, that was the year after I graduated. So let me tell you, we haven't seen that for the last 30-something years. Interesting. Inflation hurts Americans' pocketbooks, and reversing this trend is a top priority for me, Biden said in a statement after the CPI data release. The president said his nearly $2 trillion Build Back Better plan will be key to supporting the U.S. economy through the recovery, downplaying concerns it would further exacerbate inflation. So it's going to be interesting how the administration will curb inflation. Does that mean that they're going to increase interest rates? That's one way of doing it. Because right now, interest rates are at an all-time low. LIBOR at an all-time low. So as we move into this, how is the administration going to really combat this as we move forward? Let's see what else we have here. Wall Street is starting to get antsier about inflation and the Fed rates. See, we were just talking about this. So as we go through this, let's take a look at what this says. Amid the market's debate over whether inflation will prove transitory or permanent, closely tackled indicators such as bond yields and sending us mixed signals about the future. So it's going to be pretty interesting as we go forward. And what's the bond going to do? What's the bond rates going to do? Are they going to be going up or are they going to continue to go down? They've gone up a little bit, but what's going to happen there? There's a lot of money on the sidelines right now, guys. That is part because the real economy is also fighting through competing impulses of its own. The supply chain crisis and the upward pressure it is putting on soaring inflation remain the two biggest themes in 2021. If that's the biggest themes in 2021, what's 2022 going to have? I'm telling you guys, there's going to be a shortage of goods, consumer goods, and there's going to be an inflation of goods. So it's going to be costing a lot more for everything that you're purchasing. And I wonder about the CPI numbers. Are they correct? If we did it ourselves, would we find the correct pricing? Remember, we have different parts of the country that the prices are different, from gas to bread to milk. All of that changes. So they try to massage the CPI numbers so that they could better reflect exactly what's going on in America. Now, some of this, I'll tell you right now, in transportation, we can see what's going on 6 months in advance to what's happening in the economy with just our sample size. So it's pretty interesting as we move forward. So what I want you guys to do is look at what's going on in today, right? Look at this. Every morning I go through this in the morning and pay attention to what's actually going on. What is going to happen? We get into the predictive analysis as we're looking forward into the future. What's going to be happening? What's happening right now? And if we could kind of get a glimpse into what's really going to be happening, it really changes what we're going to be doing with our lives and our careers as we step forward. If we can know what's happening before it happens, we're farther ahead of the game. And we can usually see what's happening with the supply chain and with prices. What's going on is inflation. And they haven't been talking about it much. And I think you're going to hear a lot more of inflation going on than ever before. All right, Jim Becker signing off. What's in the truck? Have a great day, guys.